Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news. And on today's show, I'm not going to give you a lineup because I've got a guest who's going to help me out from the Blank Cover podcast, the bad mother from Blank Cover, BBC Dom. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be on Good News, to be the Brick Tamblyn to your Ron Burgundy. I'm all for it.
I love the reference, dude. Now we got to bring in a champ. We got to have some whammy,
and some Brian Fantano with his Sex Panther. We got to do it.
Sex Panther. Oh, this is the start. See, already you're yes-anding me. I'm loving this. This is going to be the start of something quite special. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones.
Absolutely.
So look, we have got so many stories to go over. HasLab. I want to talk very briefly about the HasLab because we got another tier revealed. We got Madeline Pryor, and like that's kind of cool. But are you thinking, Dom, too little, too late?
So I think it might be, unfortunately, keeping with the weather metaphor, like storm controversy or storm crowdfunder really has hit the mainland of collectors and it's hit us hard. And I think that's part of the problem is when you have a HasLab, as they've done in the past, it needs to give the collector something that they really want outright. So there's no need to customize. There's no like, oh, I can fudge that or move it around. It's like I'm paying a super premium price for something that I want to be like 95% of what it's expected. So for example, before we even knew what HasLabs were and they did the Unicron HasLab, that thing got funded so fast because it gave the Transformers collectors exactly what they wanted and never thought they'd get. And does this do the same thing? Does Robbie Reyes and the Hellcharger, is that giving collectors exactly what they want? With Madeline Pryor's release and the paint application not being what we expect, to put it delicately, I'm not sure that it is.
It's such a shame, as you mentioned with Unicron, like the whole point of the Kickstarter was that the initial offering was the good deal. People saw Unicron, they saw the price and went, yeah, I want to pay that. And then anything else was a bonus. That's how Kickstarter should work. Whereas with the whole Hellcharger, it's been, that's not a good price, that's not a good deal, but maybe the bonuses will make it worthwhile. But if the bonuses make it worthwhile, then I ask you, is that a bonus?
Exactly.
It's not a bonus.
Yeah.
A bonus is on top of what you should get, not validating what you get.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope this stings for Hasbro. I don't know if it will, but hopefully lessons will be learnt and will be offered more in the future. But I don't want to dwell on that because, you know what? There's more than a couple of people talking about the HasLab Hellcharger on YouTube. I've found. To be honest, I thought it was egregious. I went onto YouTube ready to post my HasLab Hellcharger video, and I saw someone else was talking about it. I was like, well, that's just rude. They stole my idea.
They can't be one of the four. They're not allowed. Whoever that was.
I know, right? This is like the action figure YouTuber mafia that I'm a part of. We try to like push out any potential new people. I'm going to go around and break some legs, but that's all right. I'll do that after the show.
You're clearly the nicest member of the mafia. Like, hey, what is it? Get off my turf, friend, or something like that.
But isn't that the creepiest one? It's like Stephen Merchant playing the guy from the Gestapo in Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
Like, hello there. We are here to look for people. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
That's model behavior right here. Okay, so moving on from the HasLab, but sticking with Hasbro Marvel Legends, we've got some full product reveals of Ironheart, Deluxe Ironheart from the Wakanda Forever wave. Dude, you dabble, you dip your toe in the MCU figures. What are you thinking of this?
I do indeed. Well, obviously we haven't seen the film. They haven't sent us a pre-screen. Like, again, how rude that we haven't seen it months ahead of everyone else. Crazy.
Don't they know who I think I am?
Exactly. In my head, I'm a big deal. That being said, just on the sort of release of what we've seen, my big question would be, is that a deluxe? To me,
Yeah, it's chunky.
It looks like a nice action figure, but just a normal action figure.
I hear you.
Yeah, how much of a deluxe is that? And I'm not sure what the price point is, but I assume if it's a deluxe, it's got that deluxe price point they put in it, which is pushing the high 30s.
I think it's hovering around that mid 30s, $35 give or take.
So,
which, hey, look, at least you're getting more bang for your buck than with Toad or something. Sure, but still, it stings.
$35. If you think about it, not too long ago, we got that beautiful Thanos deluxe. You know, like, what was that, last year or just at the end of the year before?
I think that's about a year and a half ago. Give or take, it was a while.
Like, if you think about that, or think about MODOK and how much you can get MODOK for and how big that is and how much it comes with, can you then compare this as this is also a deluxe? This is in the same category as those previous Marvel Legends, and that's the price point. To me, it looks like a nice action figure, but I would say it's a regular action figure. I would just have assumed it was maybe part of the Wakanda Forever release that they just did with Shuri and M'Baku and those guys. But yeah, that's my take on it, I'd say.
All right, well, this is one that's now a little bit more outside of our wheelhouse, but I wanted to cover it because I cover all the different action figures on Good News. Super 7 have revealed their images of, and I can say it on this channel, even though I don't normally swear because this is their name, Old Dirty Bastard, ODB,
right?
Who is, I believe, a rapper. And that's all I can really touch on because, as it might shock people to know, but I don't know much about the rap musics. So Dom, I'm not sure if you're a fan of ODB. If you can comment on the likeness or the quality, or
absolutely.
If we might need to.
I'm so glad you have me on the show. I'm BCV Dom. Super 7 is a action figure manufacturer, and you can pick up Super 7s from your favorite retailers. So. And
that is BVC on ODB.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you for appearing on DMB. There you go. I think we covered that.
We did it
well.
Whew.
Dream team. I think we pulled that off.
That bullet.
All right. Well, this is one that we can actually both speak on a little bit more articulately, hopefully, because you, sir, are responsible for costing me a lot of money, I think, because you sent me an image of the Four Horsemen Studios Figure Obscura Headless Horseman. Was it you? Was it Benji? I think one of... You son of a biscuit. Yeah. I did not hesitate, brother. I didn't hesitate. I ordered that thing in a New York minute. Doesn't it look pretty?
Yeah, it looks so nice. And unlike their Krampus release, which was Christmas time, Krampus also had a limited release to specialist retailers. Not this time round. This time round, you were one of the lucky ones who got it direct from Mythic Legions, and that's it. No more. Once that's done, it's done.
Yeah, I got in there by the skin of my teeth. Apparently, they had their pre-sale orders, which sold out, and then they did put it back up later. Yeah. But I think that window is done now. Yeah. So I'm so glad I got him. I'm so glad that I didn't hesitate, didn't think. That's what you got to do. You can sometimes when you see something that's very expensive and you want, Thundergun, baby. Just Thundergun that order. Just do it.
Yep.
No hesitation, no surrender. So I cannot wait. And apparently, unlike so many things that I've ordered, it's in stock. It's there. It's in their warehouse.
It's winging its way to you. And also, what's so great about that action figure, like you get the horse, you get the Headless Horseman. It's a package deal that looks really high quality. Like look at the sculpting on that pumpkin head. That alone is so good. It's so good. Yeah. I think anyone who's getting this is going to be really happy.
I will be. I'd love it if it arrives before Halloween. Maybe it will do, but of course we got a lot of international shipping. But fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed, because I'm made up for that. Now we're gonna stick with sort of medieval kind of things, but we're gonna actually no. I'll tell you what, we're not. You thought I was gonna go left? I go right. Just when you think you know the answers, I change the questions. Todd McFarlane Spawn figures.
Oh yeah.
Now. He's being busy and prolific as he always is. Todd loves his Spawn figures. So we had a few full product reveals of the newest line, which includes, first of all, Omega Spawn. Now, I'm not sure if you had a chance to see any of these, but I'll be flashing up pictures when I put this all together. So Omega Spawn is a mega fig, so one of the big, heavy, chunky boxes, and it's just... what I love about Spawn as a design, I've made this comparison before. Spawn is kind of like Garfield. Like, you can redesign him into anything, and it will, as long as it has the essence of the character, then you can recognize
Spawn,
it.
sure.
As what it is. So yeah, you've got Omega Spawn, which is huge, big, chunky, demon-looking Spawn, looks wicked. Then you got Nightmare Spawn, who again like looks kind of nightmarish. Plague Spawn, similar. And then you've got one called King Spider, which I showed on this channel a while ago, which is like a white Spider-Man looking dude with some green. He looks a bit like a Christmas tree, or I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. And then you got Sam and Twitch as well. Dude, have you had a chance to see any of these figures?
I have indeed. And they're really interesting. That Spawn is clearly Todd McFarlane's first love. Like, when it comes to action figures, even though McFarlane Toys are doing a great job across a number of lines, he clearly loves his Spawn figures. Like, those two, Sam and Twitch, are like, who are they for? Like, this clearly isn't for children. They're like down and out looking characters for your 7-inch figure display. Like, who are you making this for? It's like, he's making it for himself, and of that belief that if I like it, someone else will also like it. That kind of philosophy.
The hardcore adult collectors.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I can kind of see where he's going from there. I think are these the reveals out of New York City Comic Con?
No, these came out before, but we're going to then transition onto the Comic-Con ones.
Okay, yeah. So I think that actually the Spawn front of releases have been pretty quiet this year in terms of what McFarlane Toys have. They've done a lot of DC Multiverse, the new DC Superpowers. They've released a few more Mortal Kombats. They've got the Critical Role line. Actually, Spawn itself has taken a little backseat, considering how prominent it is, I guess, in Todd McFarlane's mind, or certainly his portfolio of action figures. So I'm not surprised that we've had so many releases, and then more so at New York City Comic Con as well.
That's it. I think it's one thing that kind of occurred to me recently. I think it's kind of a shame in an extent, and maybe it's a bit of a shortfall of Todd as a creative mind, is that I think you got all these different spawns, for example, like Omega Spawn, Nightmare Spawn, Plague Spawn. I feel myself like I would find these characters more appealing if they were actually different, unique characters, as opposed to a Spawn variant. You know? And I don't know, maybe it's thinking about marketing, like it has to say Spawn in order for people to be interested in it. But I find that I'd probably gravitate more to the lore and the story of these characters if they were unique individual characters. Like, imagine if Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery was Spider Dr. Octopus, Spider Rhino, Spider Electro. I'd be like, well, it's just different versions of Spider-Man. So I think they're missing a trick there, is what I'm saying. And really, I think Todd McFarlane would be richer and more successful if he just, copied my ideas. Because clearly, one of us, one of us knows what they're doing, is all I'm saying. So yeah, going on from there, we did have the New York City Comic Con reveals as well. So we only got like the little shaky cam paparazzi, oh hello Mrs. Peer through the window kind of pictures. But one big chunky one is the gigantic, I forgot his name, but I'll be on the screen. But Chunky's Monolith! That's it. First of all, badass name.
Yes.
I could imagine Monolith tagging with Big Van Vader in New Japan, That's wicked. And this dude, he looks good.
He's big. The one that caught...
Yeah, he's a big chunky boy.
For me, the one that caught my eye is Medieval Spawn. I still have my 90s Medieval Spawn action figure that, next to the original Spawn, Medieval Spawn is my favourite design. And I think this is what... And we'll talk about this, I'm sure, with the wider McFarlane reveals. I think this is where McFarlane have, now that they've had, 3 years of these new toy lines, new toy releases, they've gone, right, let's now give the people what they want. This is now...
You got to give the people what they want.
This is the time that we're going to give you all the big hitters in all the classic 90s designs that I would say, maybe millennials, or is that the right age group? Millennials on the whole would have...
little Gen X
millennial crossover there. They would have been kids in the time of the 90s. It's those characters in those designs that they want to buy now with whatever disposable income we have left during the hard times we're living now. Hard times. That's why he gives us Medieval Spawn. In my opinion, I think that's why we're getting Medieval Spawn right now.
Yeah, dude, I mean, not only that, but talk about giving the people what they want. I mean, holy potatoes, looking at some of the DC figures.
Are we going there? Are we going there already?
As well. This is, all right, no, we're hitting the
Okay.
DC figures. So, yes, Mcfarlane, yes, are doing their new DC figures, and finally, we're talking about giving the people what they want. Dude, first of all, with the comic book ones, we're getting classic costumes for some real high-demanded characters. I mean, I'm going to flash up the pictures, of course, but some of the ones that really jump out at me. First of all, people have been begging for a classic good-looking Mr. Freeze. And a Mcfarlane Mr. Freeze. Yeah, I think that's like bee's knees, man. Are there any in particular that are kind of jumping out at you? Have you seen any of these yet?
I have seen that. Well, I've seen, like you said, that paparazzi photo that's doing the rounds in the toy collector community right now. I've looked at those. It's one of those rare times. Like I do as well, as well, viewers on Blank Cover Network will know, I do collect Mcfarlane, especially the DC Multiverse line. And I pick and choose them because I got burnt with Godspeed earlier this year. I got burnt with Godspeed. It's not a great figure. So I was like, oh, I'm going to be choosier. However, this release, that wave, I might be buying the whole lot. It might just be Batman who I leave out because I was like, I'm not sure if I need that Batman, but everyone else looks great, especially Catwoman. Catwoman in the classic 90s purple costume. Incredible.
90s purple, baby. Yeah.
It's the best Catwoman costume.
I tell you what, that's more so what kind of breaks my heart a bit, is that they're not in 6-inch Marvel Legends scale because, dude, I could just combine, because I never really read DC, but Marvel versus DC, oh, dude. Which is why when I saw Superboy, I was like, oh, Superboy.
Ben Reilly?
Retro Ben Reilly?
Yeah.
Yes! And then I'm like, but then I thought, 7-inch? No! Oh, it's such a shame.
Yeah, that would mean Superboy is towering over Spider-Man. Like, it's not, that doesn't work, but
absolutely, it's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame, but they look really good. I'm a huge fan of, as well, the death of Superman, the reign of the Superman, and return of Superman is what got me into comics in the early 90s. That was the big storyline that hooked me in. So I'll definitely want to buy the Superboy and the Eradicator. The one thing that I'm worried about, which maybe your viewers might be too, it depends on what kind of collectors they are. Eradicator looks like he's got that little nappy, that little rubber diaper thing
Yeah, I
going
wish
on.
you hadn't pointed that out to me, because now I can't unsee that. And it's a design choice. And that's the annoying thing, is like, it's a choice. You could make action figures other ways, and they just went, no, this is what we're going with. But I don't like it. But I might be able to look past that, because kind of like you were saying, Death of Superman, dude, that is my 90s. That is my 90s childhood right there. Death of Superman, Broken Batman, Clone Saga, it's all there. So I might find myself buying more Mcfarlane figures than I ever had, because Eradicator, Superboy, if they do a cyborg Superman and a Steel as well, then come on.
100%. And then the other reveal...
And you're getting the Mafex Steel, aren't you?
I am. I'm going Mafex. I mean, I say I am when it's released. Like, I've pre-ordered it whenever. I don't know when it's coming, but I'm Cyborg.
That's it. Toss a coin.
Yeah, toss a coin. So I'm going for the Cyborg Superman, because that is going to be my first. And I've put off buying other Mafex figures, because I'm like, no, that's going to be my first Mafex. Because if I decide to go for Mafex, and I'm sort of moving slightly out of that retail market and into the specialist market, then I'm going to have to limit myself. I've got to limit myself to my favorite ones. Otherwise, I need a new job that pays me a lot more. And so that's why I'm like, Cyborg Superman to start with. Don't buy any peripheries. Just go Return of Superman storyline characters and see how I like them. That's my plan.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when it comes in. I'm still waiting for that email to drop.
I'm intrigued, dude. I think we'll be waiting a while, but when it does hit, I'll be very interested to see that. In the meantime, though, if Mcfarlane do the rest of the reign of the Supermen, because now I'm thinking, I'm not the first person to say it, Megafig Doomsday, that's just sells itself. Come on.
100%.
Mcfarlane.
100%. And also
make it so.
Yeah, and they get the, like we're saying, this classic reveals. I did a video, shameless plug here. I did a video on my channel fairly recently, which I kind of unpicked how Mcfarlane are creating what comes as a gold label series. And effectively, gold label in a nutshell is comic book versions. So this year, all their gold label, the majority of their gold label releases have been comic book designs. So I'm not sure if you've seen, but there's a new Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. So they had, right? They had the Builder figure, the Click and Collect or Click and Connect or whatever it's called. They had that as their first Kyle Rayner release, and then they've just dropped a new gold label Kyle Rayner in his classic 90s black suit with the emblem and like the one that we all want. I think they're going, gold label is for our die-hard collectors. Like, that's what they've gone for. And I think, therefore, you release, like, these classic characters, they're going to sell. They're going to sell to people like you and me. There is a bit of a storm brewing, though, in my Brick Tamland brain, just to let you all know. There's a storm brewing because there's rumours of a price increase for your standard Mcfarlane action figure. Right, so
I've heard similar rumors.
So we've always talked about it on both of our channels. Mcfarlane have held on to that $19.99 price point when all other retailers, all other manufacturers were upping the prices, cost of inflation or just greed, who knows. But Mcfarlane have stuck to that $19.99 price point. We're looking at a potential 10%, maybe even more price increase next year. Will that stop people from buying Mcfarlane's? Or will they go, that's still cheaper than a Marvel Legend? I can do this.
Yeah. I mean, Mcfarlane have been sort of dabbling. There's been a couple of £25 figures that were like slightly bigger. So I think, the waters have been tested and we're going to have to brace ourselves. But I have always been saying, even though I don't like Mcfarlane figures that much, I would always give them the credit. Yes, but they're keeping that price point. So they might just be going with the flow, at which point maybe they're going to have to change their style a little bit to win me over. But hey, doing 90s comic book stories, that'll keep me interested. If 90s Kyle Rayner came with a fridge accessory as well,
that's
then I
super
would
dark.
100%.
That is one of the darkest things you've ever said. You don't need to fridge anyone anymore, man. Like that. That's
no, but now we do it ironically.
Okay.
When She-Hulk on Disney Plus references fridging, then I'm like, okay. We can now officially laugh about fridging.
Yeah. The other release from Mcfarlane, I'm sure you're going to talk about it, is the Dark Knight Trilogy action figures. We're getting a Christian Bale Batman, a Heath Ledger Joker, a Tom Hardy Bane. I'm all for it.
No. Do it properly. I want to get those figures just so that I can annoy everyone in my reviews doing the different voices, because you know it's going to happen.
Sure.
I mean, how can I get a Christian Bale Batman and not do the entire review like this, sounding slightly out of breath all the time? So I'm surprised to see this, but I'm not sure why I'm surprised, because it makes so much sense to tackle these, because these are going to be crowd pleasers. People are going to want these.
Yeah, it makes so much sense, and I think it makes sense because we haven't ever had them. You know what I mean? Like, when those films came out, we had some, I think, 5-inch or 4-inch action figure releases, and they sort of came and went without much fanfare because it was Christopher Nolan's Batman. These Batman films were for an older age demographic, and we weren't in the golden age of action figures that we're currently in now. So I think this is Mcfarlane going, let's fill a gap in people's collections and just give them the main characters. And I'll buy the whole wave. 100% I'll buy the whole wave.
Oh, so you're going all in with this.
I'm going all in with it.
This is happening.
We differ in that I really like The Dark Knight Rises, whereas I know you are adamantly against its very existence.
I love all the Tom Hardy Bane stuff.
Me too.
Besides that,
Tom Hardy he was like, Bane might sound like a man smoking a pipe pontificating on the world. And I love it. What a crazy, wild choice. It's not the Nightfall that I wanted, but it is as close to having a Nightfall on screen as I think I'll ever get. So I'm very happy with the trilogy, and I'll buy the whole wave. I'm all in. They looked at me and they were like, people like him, they're going to be suckers for this wave. They're going to pre-order all of it. This is easy money. And I'm like, yes, it is.
Yes, take it. Thank you, sir. May I have another? So yeah, and again, I think so. So we've got Scarecrow, Batman, Two-Face, Bane, and Joker. Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if we find a Catwoman somewhere in there at some point as well. But yeah, I also give them credit for hitting all the big guns right away. Like boom, we know what you want. Here you go. So yeah. Thumbs up to Mcfarlane DC on that one. They're actually using some common sense.
Absolutely.
So moving on from Mcfarlane DC, going to something very quickly I just want to touch on. You probably wouldn't have seen this, but Mattel, they do their Masters of the Universe line. They have a cosmic Skeletor, who I just wanted to mention so I can show a picture of it. It's from the more cartoony kids Masters of the Universe line, but it's just a big, hulking, demon-looking action figure. Looks super fun for anyone who just wants a demon-type collection. So, yeah, I might be tempted by that if I saw it in store. And then going on from there, we also, and this is a big one, Mattel Creations are doing their Masters of the Universe Eternia playsets. And a mutual friend of ours is currently selling various possessions of his. Brad wants to invest in this, but it's with shipping, it's about $600, and that's a lot of cheddar.
That's a lot of cheddar.
It's a lot of cheddar.
A collectible. And this is where I think we touched on earlier with the HasLab Storm controversy or Storm crowdfunder really is hitting collectors hard, because the Ghost Rider HasLab is making people go, oh, do I really have to pay that much money to get something which is potentially less than the Sentinel, less than Unicron, less than Galactus, etc.?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, Mattel Creations going like, we should get in on this action. And then they've gone whole hog, which is making the community really talk about, do we need to crowdfund massive corporations' action figures for them instead of them putting it out to market? And actually, as you know, as David knows, like as a producer and a businessman myself, like I get why they're doing it, because actually for a smaller release, if you're like, hey, just to go back to HasLab, if HasLab said we're going to make 5,000 or 5,500 Hell Charges, they'd be funded by now at the current price point. If they weren't going to say we're going to make we're going to make 9,000 Hell Charges minimum, if they said we're going to make 5,500, they would already be funded, and then they could just limited edition and then ride that wave of success. Similarly here, we've got a very high price point for a big old retro looking playset that probably back in the day would have cost, what, £50? £60?
Apparently, actually, someone posted an old catalogue, $84, I think. $84.
So there you go, well under $100. And are you saying that inflation between now and then is 6 times that? Whew.
Yeah, actually, Retro Blasting made a video about it where I think he said, if you account inflation as it is, it should at most be $350. So there's a lot being taxed. A lot of paid vacations and holidays in the Caribbean are being covered
by
with
collectors.
This. So I'm gonna be very interested to see how this funds. I don't have skin in the game. I'm not a Master of the Universe person, but it's a sticky old thing, and we could talk about the choices of crowdfunding for hours in and of itself.
But this is good news.
I'll try and keep. Exactly. And I'm going to try and keep this train a-rolling, because also, again, you may not have seen it. I'm going to flash up a picture. Going back to Mcfarlane with their Warhammer line, they've shown a Warhammer 40k gold label Chaos Space Marine, and this dude, I love the Chaos designs, man.
So good. And
They're
also
so cool.
they've currently got the helmeted Chaos Space Marine, which you can get right now, and it's fantastic. The level of detail in the sculpting is incredible. This new release, the sort of bold Master Evil head and the blood red
that's what I'm talking about.
Really, really cool. I'm very much enjoying the Space Marine releases that Mcfarlane are doing. I used to buy the Bandai releases, which were the better part of $100, and that was 2 years ago. And then Mcfarlane came in and were like, same figure, not as high quality, like it isn't, but very good quality for $20 to $25 instead. I pivoted so hard to collecting that instead of the Bandai versions. Really looking forward to this Chaos Space Marine.
Yeah, I gotta say, we were talking about the plastic underpants with Mcfarlane figures, but Space Marines, that they don't suffer from that. It's all this armor, and the way that the armor tessellates and connects, like it covers all the joints and everything, it just lends itself so perfectly to this style of action figure. Mcfarlane have cracked it.
Totally
they really have. They look so good.
And because you have me, your weatherman / investigative journalist, on this episode of Good News, I can say the thing is I've looked at it and it really is only the DC Multiverse figures that have that bigger, hip, nappy, diaper-esque function, that rubbery part.
Yeah.
You look at their Critical Role line, their Warhammer line, their Last Airbender line, all of them different functionality.
Oh yeah, Witcher figures don't have that.
None of it's only DC Multiverse.
No. How funny. Okay, yeah, Mcfarlane, get on that. That's a weird one there. Okay, but we're going to move on from those ones, and I just want to talk about also, I'm a big fan of Godzilla. The classic Toho Godzilla man-in-suit monster movies. And Super 7 is bringing some heat. They're bringing some nuclear fusion reaction Godzilla.
Oh my
heat.
gosh.
I'm not sure if you would have seen these, but these, dude. First of all, the villains. Because NECA did great Godzillas, but they mostly just did Godzilla and various iterations of Godzilla. But Super 7 are like, nah, we know what you want. This should be like the subtitle for this episode. Giving the people what they want. First of all, Super 7 are doing, got to pronounce it right, Destroyer, which is just like demonic, evil version of Godzilla.
So good. I'm a huge Godzilla fan. Both iterations, the original Toho, also the more playful fun, like when baby Godzilla arrived on the scene, all that stuff. Yeah,
Godzuki.
So good. So these Super 7s, I actually haven't dabbled in Super 7. Again, I'm more of a retail action figure collector, looking at that Mattel, that Hasbro, that Mcfarlane. But now that Godzilla is in the Super 7 world, I think my wallet's going to take a hit next year. I think it really is.
Might have to be my first for Super 7. We were talking about you getting your first Mafex. Destroyer might have to be my first Super 7 figure, because also they're doing I've just had a brain freeze, but I'll put it up on the screen. Another Godzilla villain who I'm a big fan of, which really drives me crazy that I can't think of its name, but it's a plant monster, a rose kind of giant,
I remember the one.
and made out of the DNA of a scientist, got his dead daughter's DNA and infused it with radioactive plants, and so bonkers. And I love it. I absolutely love the look of that. So this could get expensive. They're also doing a sort of a melting Godzilla where he overheats with radioactive heat, so his skin kind of falls away, so it looks like a skeletal zombie Godzilla. So much cool stuff. Super 7. They might be getting some of my money coming soon. But if they want that money, they might have to get in line, because also we have Maestro Union Fu-Ray Planet Blade Master weighing 1/12 scale figure. Now, I sent you some pictures of this dude. It's a Shaolin monk Tiger Man. And he looks incredible.
So cool.
Man, these Fu-Ray Planet figures, they're just next level.
Also, what great centerpieces for your collection. You know what I mean? Like, if you just want to go, I have a Justice League, or I have an Avengers team, or I have these things, and then you actually go, I also have a collection of the best figures out there. This is a contender, right? Like, this looks so cool. This is a fever dream of an artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
It is, but just beautiful, man. And this is the whole Fu-Ray Planet line. I think someone said this is the third figure, which then gives me brain freeze, because I know they had the Crocodile Hunter.
Oh,
that was another one
this
from the Fu-Ray
line.
Planet
Yes.
line. This is all the same. Yeah, this is the same thing. I think the second one I'm forgetting is a Wolfman figure, but I'm spacing on that, so I won't commit to it. I'll splice in some pictures, but I think that's it. But yeah, again, that Crocodile Hunter, that was another one that I was like, really want to bite the bullet on, because just the details just look so exquisite. So the problem is, if I get this tiger guy, then I'm definitely going to want to go back and get the crocodile guy as well, because they just look so beautiful, man. They really, really do. So yeah, those are going to be available for pre-order, I think, from Fu-Ray Planet, but I'm going to have to check the information on that. Right, dude, that pretty much almost does it for action figures. So before we finish up, actually, just like out of interest, a little bit of an aside, do you have any particular picks from the Hasbro Pulse live stream? They announced a whole bunch of things. Have you pre-ordered anything?
I've pre-ordered some things. There's some good weather coming in for action figure collectors when it comes to pre-orders from Hasbro Pulse and New York City Comic Con. Hasbro Pulse, for me, I went with the 3-pack, the Daredevil 3-pack. And actually, I've sold my Marvel Legends yellow costume Daredevil in order to try and fund or part fund that 3-pack. And a big decision was made for that 3-pack, actually, between you and Benji from Blank Cover Podcast, is I was asking both of you guys, I can't tell if this Daredevil is pinless or not. And in the end, both of you were like,
yes, I can confirm.
And that's there it is. That's the decision then.
Yes.
If he's pinless, I'm buying him. If he wasn't, I'm like, I'll just wait. They'll do it. They'll give me the red costume Daredevil. But he's pinless. I'm pre-ordering him big time.
And I can understand the hesitancy as to knowing whether or not he's pinless, because I mean he's pinless in the picture on the box, but we all know that don't mean nothing.
Something.
That means
whenever that happens,
zero.
Dan Yuen is like, oh God, he's got to. Whenever they release those images, Dan Yuen has to firefight for them, because they release images without double checking. So I feel for the guy. I really do.
At least all he has to do. Yeah. Granted, now he just has to, copy and paste the template. Sure. So it's not difficult. Take a second. Oh yeah, boom. Sorry. It's like, dude, don't keep apologizing. Get it right. But nonetheless, that 3-pack. Yeah, I went for that as well.
Great pre-order.
Really
I also dabbled in the Ken Power Rangers mashup. So they've got those Street Fighter Power Rangers, they've released 4 now, pre-ordering 4, and I was like, I'm just going to try one of these, because they've got a fairly high price point, considering how much cheaper regular Lightning Collection Power Rangers are. So I was like, I'm just going to buy one, I've gone for Ken, and I'll just see what it's like when I get it, because they do look fun. If they were $20 or $25, I would have bought all of them. Like, I would have gone whole hog, yeah. So I pre-ordered that, and there's one more that I pre-ordered. Oh, Iron Man with a proton cannon. Had to do it.
Oh, you went for it, dude, because that is an expensive markup.
It is a big markup.
But if you want him,
it's sold out.
You gotta get him.
At least I got in there. And to your point earlier, when you're talking about the 4 Horsemen, Headless Horseman release, you got to pull the trick. When you see something you like, go do it, because there were 2 that I waited on because I was waiting for payday, and I missed out on them. One of them is Indiana Jones, which I would have pre-ordered. And the other is CoverGirl, the G.I. Joe release.
Oh,
she's now sold out.
Because I was
she's now sold out. She was sold out in I think the States, and then a few days later she was sold out in the UK, or vice versa. And I was like, oh, she looks really cool. And I didn't realise that they weren't releasing this wave at retail. This is purely Hasbro Pulse, I think, that particular G.I. Joe wave, or something like that.
I think so. I mean, I know that the Hasbro Pulse exclusivity doesn't kick in until next year, but if these are next year figures, then I guess that might be the case.
So I missed out on those 2, but maybe I'll find them somewhere else down the line. But those are my picks for my personal collection, and I'd be interested to hear what your viewers have also picked, what their big pre-orders are.
Yeah, guys, as always, comment below, let us know, because it's always fascinating. Like, the figures that I'm often not the least bit interested in, people are like,
Sure.
oh my goodness, like, they're finally doing this. So that's why I know not to say, like, who asked for this, because there's always someone who asked for something. So that's cool. And yeah, I went for the 3-pack and the entire retro line, because I want to just review all of those. That's always good fun. But I'll probably only keep Spiral, maybe Phoenix.
Whoa,
that's
the
it.
Brotherhood,
The
you don't want to...
Well, no, because I kind of gave up with the Brotherhood because, you know, when you I was saying this yesterday, when you start collecting a group of figures, you think like, okay, there's like 5 people in this group, they're going to retail for about £20 each. I can justify that. But then it goes on for so long and they stretch it out for so many years. Then it's like, well, I paid £20 for these ones, but now this one's £30 and then Blob's probably going to be £40.
No.
It's like, no. Don't want them no more. So yeah, I don't have a Brotherhood anymore. Because also, like, if I did have a Brotherhood, I'd have to get towed. Because otherwise it wouldn't be complete in my mind. And I'd be like, oh, that's wrong. But I'm not going to pay £35 for
You don't want to
towed.
back
Shut the
yourself
front
into
door.
that corner.
Get out.
You know, of all the releases to be forced to buy.
Exactly, man. Exactly. That's I could put that money towards something I actually really want, like a Fu-Ray Planet Wushu
or a
Tiger
Super
Dude.
7 Godzilla.
Like, that's what I'm talking about. Exactly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
get
You know
it.
the score, man. You know the score. So that's why my collection will be lacking in consistency, but brimming over with awesome.
That's a good collection.
That works for me.
That's a good collection.
Okay, dude, we're gonna move on now. We're gonna wrap things up. We're done with action figures. But there's just a couple of little stories from around the interwebs that I wanted to touch on. One thing is Todd McFarlane is back. We're still taking for Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane is back at it with news about the Spawn movie. The Spawn movie, which has been in production hell for the last 25 years. Apparently, it's moving forward with new writers, and the same actor, Jamie Foxx, is still tapped to play Al Simmons in an upcoming Spawn movie. Now with writers, I've got from the Hollywood Reporter here, they say Scott Silver, who co-wrote Joker, which is a good pedigree, and Malcolm Spellman, who worked on Marvel's Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the upcoming Captain America New World Order, and Max Mixum, who doesn't have any credits apparently, according to this, are now collaborating on the script. So we got new writers. The same star, and Todd McFarlane still claiming this is going to happen. How do you feel about the prospects of a Spawn movie?
You gotta give it some fresh blood. Fair enough. That's what Todd McFarlane wants to do. As someone who's worked with a lot of creatives in that industry, sometimes, especially if you're Todd McFarlane, this is your baby, this is your big thing. Sometimes that can be a hindrance instead of a help, because you're too overprotective. It's got to be this thing in your head. And if you can't communicate that thing in your head to your team, to your writers, to your talent, they can't deliver. Sometimes it helps us take a step back and let other people do it. That being said, if Todd McFarlane is like, no, it's my baby, and I write comics as well, I'm going to steer the ship, then actually maybe he is saying that to these writers. He's like, hey, I'm the head writer. I'm the Vince McMahon of this situation, and you're gonna. No,
he's gonna
not that way.
diddle everyone in the cast and crew, and then retire in shame.
No.
Oh no. Okay, sorry, I was misinterpreting.
But so
okay.
I think a new Spawn film would be great. I remember watching the old one with John Leguizamo in it, and you say it's in production hell, but like Spawn's meant to be in hell. That's kind of the gimmick. So. They're just
it's so
they're
fitting.
just brewing.
Absolutely.
They're brewing something good. I think Jamie Foxx as a talent to play Al Simmons, to play Spawn, is a great choice. If he is still attached, financiers will be like all over that. So I'm big on that side of things, and the pedigree of the new writers sounds really good. Joker was an interesting watch for sure. So hopefully, I could be speculating wildly. In fact, no. I am speculating wildly. I can say it with certainty. I've never spoken to Todd McFarlane ever. The one thing that I can say just from my experience of other situations with a creator-owned product that they're trying to get made, sometimes you have to get out of your own way and leave it to other people to create. And then come in later to manifest it, to bring it to life. Because actually, if you're too overprotective at the start, you stifle that creativity, it never gets off the ground. And it's 25 years, that might have been happening.
Exactly, yeah. 25 years and Todd McFarlane still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a Spawn movie. But hopefully, yeah, we're going to get there. So, also speaking of movies that have had big changes recently, the Marvel MCU Blade movie has apparently had a complete overhaul from Kevin Feige, who I was going to say, I've been told. Yes, me personally. Definitely wasn't from the Hollywood Reporter. But apparently, I'm sorry that, this is just a thought that's coming off my brain without too much research, but I remember reading the article that Feige came in and he was like, this whole project is completely just not working. Apparently they had a 90-page script which was completely unsatisfactory. Had apparently the one thing that kept popping up was that they said 2 action scenes in the entire movie, and it was just felt very flat and very sort of just like, no, we gotta abort this direction we're going in and start from scratch. So apparently the Blade movie has had a complete scorched earth overhaul. So again, is this one that's been on your radar? Did you even sort of know that Blade was in the works?
I only knew about it from the reveals at various Comic Cons and D23, where you see it on the timeline. You know how they reveal the timeline of the next phase and the next phase, and Blade is there. On average, you're looking at a page. A page equals a minute of screen time, roughly speaking. Obviously, that's not a hard and fast rule, because one little thing on a page might say there's a huge action sequence that's going to last more than a minute, but it's one sentence. But on the whole, think of it that way. So what you've got there, roughly speaking, is a 90-minute film, which is too short for an MCU film. Secondly, 2 action sequences with one of your coolest, most martial artsy. Exactly.
Badass.
No, you've got an action sequence to kick the film off, and then just carry on. And I say this as a child of the 90s. The other thing is those Wesley Snipes, Blade films. The Wesley Snipe Blade films. Sorry.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes.
They're good. People really enjoy them. They still enjoy. They're not MCU.
They are. They hold up.
If you just want a fun vampire killer film, they're gory. That bloodbath underground rave sequence. I remember when that first came out. That was all anyone could talk about. Those still are in the realm of superhero films. So if you're doing something new, it's got to be better than that. It can't be less than. So and.
Yeah, and that is still
it's a high bar.
And
Kevin Feige, he knows what he's doing. As the captain steering.
Yeah, I bet that dude knows how to crack the whip.
He's steering a massive ship that was built and became bigger than anyone could have expected. He's probably one of the only people in the world who knows how to potentially steer it. If he says, "Hey guys, we've got to scorched earth this and start again," it's because you have to scorched earth it and start again. 100%.
Yeah, and I respect that. So hopefully they'll be able to turn that ship around. One new movie that does not need turning around, hopefully, because it's right at our docks, and I'm going to abandon this metaphor. Yeah! The new Mario, the Super Mario animated movie. Yes, something bright, colourful, and exciting. Dude,
I have seen the trailer yet? I'm all hyped for this, because I was a SNES guy growing up. I wasn't Sega. So the Sega folks have had 2 really good Sonic films released in recent years. Bring some Mario back to the big screen.
Yeah. I love the look of this, man. I really, really do. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know if it was live action or combination, but it looks like a fully realized CGI world, and it looks like they've hit that sweet spot where obviously they're not going photoreal, they're not going just Game Boy whatever. It's just a great mashup of a super HD beautiful version of 3D Mario, and it just looks
great. And there's a meme going around. If you want to check it out, I'm sure your viewers have probably seen it even, but maybe if not, you're hearing it here on Good News. They've robbed us of Mario's behind. I'm not sure if you've seen this. The comparison of what Mario used to have, this big chunky butt, and in the film they're like, no, he's svelte. So there you go. That's the only.
pancake flat. Yeah, Mario is missing out on his badonk donk, and maybe that is.
Other than that, looks great.
Yes, I've seen the memes going around. Yeah, but I do like the tone looks just carefree and fun. The whole Bowser attack with the penguins and just like
this will be great.
Yeah, there you go. Because I was a little worried. I was like, but they played with my expectations in just the right way. Because when it first kicked off, I was like, oh no, they're not going to try and do like a
serious
dramatic Lord of the Rings style version. And it's like, nope, it's silly. The stakes, I think, are going to be low, but in a fun kind of way. You know, Bowser's not looking to enslave humanity and turn them all into, Necronomicon. No, it's just Bowser's being a dick. And we have to stop him from bullying everyone. And it's like,
and actually, that's one thing.
I'm so happy
Nintendo
to see this.
are very protective of their intellectual property. When it comes to Mario, Metroid, they're so protective, almost to a point of suffocation, that some of their properties never see the light of day for extended periods of time or any revamps. But that's also because they know exactly what those IPs do. They know what worlds they exist in, what the aesthetics are, and I think from the trailer, this film looks like it could deliver.
Yeah, I'm 2 thumbs up, fingers crossed that I'm really going to be looking forward to this. All right, I'm going to give you tonal whiplash now, because we're going to go from the bright colors of Mario to a trailer for the remake of the video game Dead Space.
What was that?
Are you familiar
What was
at all?
That was whiplash right there. That hurt so hard.
There you go.
Dead Space is one of the most terrifying experiences of my gaming life. Not a chance that I will be seeing this film.
Dude. Oh, dude. It ain't even no, this is a remake of the game itself. You're going to be playing this, man. You're going to be playing Dead Space, rebuilt from the ground up to be extra terrifying.
Why would you do that?
In case it wasn't bad enough the first time.
I like... Are you... do you like scares? Are you a fan of... Okay, that's your jam. Okay.
Yes, I love being scared. Yeah, and I can't get that I can rarely get that through movies anymore. I can be a bit creeped out with a movie, but only a video game where you are in control. Are you like really feeling it? And Dead Space was one of those games where I was moving, I was trying to avoid things physically. Cannot wait for this. I'm so on board. But I might not be playing that with you then, dude. But yeah. I'm really, really excited for Dead Space. And then just a couple of little things to wrap up with now. Did you know a new American Pie movie is being made? Original cast. They're all grown up now. And I think we're a similar generation. So we were that age when American Pie came out, pretty much. So I've got a lot of nostalgia for the franchise. This is kind of fun news for me.
I assume it must be their children that are now the age of sexual awakening.
Which is the crazy thing. That's the terrifying thing, is that their children would be that 17, 18-year-old bracket now. So
but they've got to get the band back together. You had a really popular franchise. The band was going on tour, releasing albums, having a great time, and then you break up. And then so many years later, over decades later, you bring the band back together for that reunion tour. And that's what they're doing with American Pie. Yes. If it doesn't have Eugene Levy in it, I'll be disappointed. Because thanks to Schitt's Creek, he's now got a resurgence. He gets to pick and choose what he's in. I hope he's in it. Even just as a cameo.
Yeah. 100%. So yes, I'm going to be following this one closely because I'm really excited for this. One other little bit of news I just wanted to highlight, because it's non-news, and it's the most pointless non-news that I always get so annoyed when I see, because it's like, oh boy, slow news day, guys, is Did you know that the actress who plays Karen Page in the Netflix Daredevil film would love to come back to reprise her role at Disney Plus? You get these all the time. It's like, so-and-so would love to reprise their role. It's like, that's not a news story. Of course they would love to reprise their role. Like, that's,
you know
that's
what?
not
Breaking
that's
news.
not news.
I would love to win the lottery. There you go. That's it. That's the whole thing. It's the whole article.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, I remember reading that same thing, like 2 years ago or so. It was Charlie Cox. Charlie Cox says he would love to reprise his role as Daredevil. And like, yeah, that eventually happened. But like,
it's not
him
news.
saying he wants to do it is not news.
It's not news.
It's like if, and not that I think he would do, but it's like if Daniel Craig said, I would love to come back as James Bond. It's like, well, I'm sure you would. But that's not news. So yeah, I just wanted to rant on that because I thought you would agree with me, because those are the most pointless stories.
There's nothing to it. Like literally what you just said, the headline. There's no clickbait to it. There's nothing to read on from. It's like, yeah, that's the whole thing. Move on. Go on. Yeah, done.
Yeah. Yeah, I think similarly that there was another article with the dude who played Iron Fist.
News.
It's like, that's not news, pal. It's like, of course you. I would love, just breaking news. I would love to be cast as Doctor Doom in the MCU. Just saying. There you go, IGN. You can put that on your front page.
That's what that is. David wants to displaying model behavior displays Doom.
All right.
That's the clickbait article.
There you go. Like, share, and subscribe on that one. Man, that wraps it all up for good news for today. This has been so much fun.
For sure. I mean, from me, BCV Dom, this is me saying I love Lamp. Really, is the only thing left to say. There's no copyright infringement for me saying that, right?
Breaking news: BBC Dom would like to appear in Lamp. Yeah, that's all right. Oh yeah, we're still going to be rolling with this, dude. Before you go, very quickly, quick little plug ski, blank cover. What's going on, man? What are you guys doing?
If you like podcasts, go find us on any podcatcher: Amazon Audible, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. All of them. Just look for Blank Cover Podcast, and often you can hear David talking on that one as well as one of our reporters in the field. If you like your YouTube, then go check out Blank Cover Network, where you see me talking about action figures. Really, that's the big difference. You can see action figures on YouTube. You can hear about comics and movies on the podcast. That's the big distinction.
That's it. It's YouTube pictures,
audio,
podcast, sounds. That's how I always
just wanted to clear that up. Finally.
Yeah,
that's. Someone had.
I'm glad someone
had the guts
finally
to say
what
we were all thinking.
Someone. Yeah. Oh wow, that's a totally separate podcast. I do. Dave tells it like it is. Someone needs to say what we're all thinking. Am I right?
No one was thinking that.
Dave, I don't want to be on that show. No, but I'll tell you what Dom was actually thinking. I'm going to editorialize. All right, dude, I'm gonna sign off with you on here, but I'm gonna sign off with you afterwards properly, because that's how I always do things here. But guys, in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I just hit my nose when I did that. And until next time, bam! Keep displaying model behavior.
I hear it. Whenever you do that, I hear it's good. It's Pavlov's dog.